Hi, everyone. Coming in for Wednesday's Convos with Kaz. You are in for a treat. Comedian, host, actor, exciting. Convos with Kaz. If you have any bit of funny in your body, hello, you will enjoy this Convos with Kaz. And if you haven't laughed in a while, hopefully that happens for you today. Okay. It's guaranteed to be a good conversation. So, Convos with Kaz, I'm waiting on someone who's in the car. Hi, Jamie.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm awesome. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm actually parked outside a T-Mobile store so I don't get cut the hell off, if you know what I mean, because these signals is horrible in Harlem, that's why.
Okay, so you prepared and you sat outside the store. So if
I
you
am
get cut
prepared.
off, do you go in the store and be like, hey, fix this for me, please, quickly?
Hell yeah, you have to.
Okay.
You have to. You
Okay.
paying them the money, they need to do something right.
Or are you outside of the store because maybe you haven't paid a bill and you're hoping
I'm using a free Wi-Fi.
that part. That part. I'm just saying.
No, I'm actually by the club. We're waiting for the bar to come in tonight. So I can't miss my convo with Kaz. So I said, yo, you guys handle that, and I'll
You,
meet you upstairs when it gets there. You know what I
you
mean?
cannot miss it because you would have lost a friend.
I know. That's why I'm here, Mama. That's why I'm here.
I appreciate you. I definitely appreciate you. Okay, so I know that people are joining in, and I am so very excited, and you have things to do, so I will not keep you past the time that we have discussed. Are you ready, Jamie?
Yeah, let's get busy. Let's get
Okay,
busy.
fantastic. Let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Convos with Kaz. I am so excited because I have someone I'm going to say is kind of special here with me, and because we just go way back. So let me give him the introduction that he is due. Jamie Roberts is a name synonymous with many things, including determination, focus, and loud and out funny. He possesses a persona that warms up the crowd and brings down the house. Jamie's comedic timing and ability to turn any situation into a humorous situation has made him into one of the most sought after hosts in New York City and beyond. From film to stage, Jamie is a comics comic, and you never know what he may do next. Jamie made his bones on the New York comedy scene as the executive producer and weekly host of the longest running Sunday show in New York City called Sunday Night Live. The show created a platform where up-and-coming comedians could perform alongside some of the greats such as Mike Epps, George Wallace, David Spade, Marlon Wayans, and a plethora of other people on Sunday night's live stage. Jamie has been featured on MTV, Tidal, SiriusXM Radio, The Griot, The Root, 770 WABC, NBC's Law and Order, Channel 7's Eyewitness, Channel 6 ABC News Philadelphia commercials, and he was also a cast member on FYI's A Question of Love with his then girlfriend, Nikki Sunshine. Who would have thought this Long Island native would have what it takes to make it in the big city? I'll tell you, I didn't back then, but you know, I always believe in my friends, so that's not true. Jamie is currently married to his comedy sweetheart, Nikki Sunshine, and they have created their brand, Married and Funny. He's also the founder and executive director of Comedy with a Purpose, a business in which he uses comedy to address some serious social matters. Jamie has recently added owner of 108 Soul New York, one of the hottest digital stations available, and co-owner of Comedy in Harlem. And his most important title is, of course, husband and dad.
That's
Convos with
right.
Kaz community. Throw up your microphones, throw up your hearts, throw up your strong arms, throw up your laughing emojis, your flex arms, whatever. and welcome my childhood friend, Jamie Roberts,
Wow.
comedian, actor, and
Wow.
host and businessman to
Thank
Convos with
you.
Kaz. Welcome, Jamie.
Thank you. I didn't even know who you were talking about, half of those things you were saying, but thank you.
Yeah, no worries. I just wrote it, from your website. A
Right,
a
right.
little bit of
I didn't.
plagiarism. You know how we used to do back in. I'm not going to say that because I see other people from other schools on here, so they would just love to bring down the illustrious Hampton University. But we're not going to do that here. Jamie,
No,
I
we
know,
shall not. No, we
and
shall
I know,
not.
and for
I love my
everybody watching,
HIU.
Jamie is. We hope Jamie can stay with us because Jamie is currently stealing a signal outside of T-Mobile right now. So. Some people say you've
Yeah.
been funny. Some people say you've been funny for a long time, Jamie. But my question to you is, when did that money green light bulb go off to make you see the path that comedy was the legacy that you were going to leave on this earth?
Wow. I would
Oh, I
say
jump right in.
after I had a real deep conversation with my man Talent, comedian Talent, who I call like my mentor in this comedy world. He really schooled me about how to make money in this game, and it's basically building your following and not being tied down to one venue in order to perform, and just building and milking relationships. Like nurturing people and always willing to give back. It doesn't make a difference. Just willing to give back. And in comedy, how we give back is stage time. We give people stage time. They may need to work out some stuff. They're getting ready to do a late night set. So hey, they hit you up. Hey, I need to work out 8 minutes. Come through. Oh, you got some people who just came in town from Cali. Hey, can I get some time on your show? It was a hot show. Yeah. Who you coming with? George Wallace. Hell yeah, come through. You know what I mean? Oh, the Wayans brothers. Yeah, sure. I got time. Everybody, get off the show. We got the Wayans. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I learned how to build relationships, and with those relationships, that takes you around not only the city but around the country and around the world to actually make money. So when he was telling me this, I wasn't really, I was like 3 years in the game. I wasn't, I didn't understand it for real until I started running my own show. And then when I started running my own show and I had to start paying comedians, I started realizing like, okay, so this is how it works. They go from spot to spot, 3 spots a night on the weekend, and they pick up 200 here, 100 there, 300 here. They go home, $1,000 in their pocket, $500 in their pocket, right? It all depends on how good you are. It all depends on where you're performing and how long you're performing. So once I figured that out, I was like, man, so a weekend I can make $1,000. I hate to say this because I'm an accountant as well, tax free, right? And I can just keep getting better and better at this. And if I go out of town, they're going to pay me more plus my room and board. If I get really good, they're going to fly me out. You know what I mean? It's like, then I started figuring it out. And I'm like, you don't really need TV to be successful. You don't really need that. But that credit behind your name
Yeah.
gives it that je ne sais quoi. How do they say? It gives you that uniqueness that says, hey, that guy was on BET. That guy was on MTV. That guy was on HBO. Get him on your stage. You know what I mean? Someone vouched for him. So now he's funny all of a sudden. I've been funny, but now that you saw me on TV, now I'm that guy. Whatever. You know what I mean? So, but that's when it really hit me after I had a deep conversation with Talent about it, and then actually just watching him, because one day he'd be at Broadway Comic or the Improv back then, and then the next day he'd be in Buffalo performing, and then he'll be down in Atlanta on the weekend, and then he's in Denver, and then he's out in
He was
Cali
all over
on
making that
Sunday.
money.
Right. And I'm like, how the hell is he doing this? Because I know what I was getting paid. I'm like, you can't buy tickets for what the hell I was getting paid. You know what I mean? And he was already on another level. So, to see him move and shake, and there's other people as well, but he really took the time out to like sit me down and say, hey man, I think you got something. And he also showed me how to like host shows, him and my man Kenny Williams, Drew Frazier as well. Like there was a time we used to have teach backs. So when I used to literally come off stage, he used to pull me aside. All right, can't do this, don't do that, don't drive into the crowd too much, you're doing this, you're doing that. It was like an internship in between sets, you know what I mean, while I was hosting.
Interesting.
And, you
So
know,
you
we
were
got
getting
away with it
mentored like while you
right
were like
there,
doing the show.
right there on the spot. Because I used to host the New Jack section for their show. The New Jack section is when newer comedians perform before the professionals get on.
Okay.
So I was the host for that segment. Will Vince used to be the host, and then he got extremely successful, and then he said, "I'm not doing this shit no more." And so he went and did. So there was always an opening for that. So me and my man Chuck Burks used to rush to improv. Whoever got there first was the host, and the second
So
person,
it was like a fight to the door, huh?
yeah, man. And then
Okay. Okay.
yeah, but
Well,
it
it sounds
worked.
like talent gave you what, the secret to the sauce.
Yeah, and then just watch it. Like I didn't know. It didn't really hit me. Like we grew up watching Martin on HBO Def Comedy Jam, right? But it didn't really hit me that the next step after comedy is a sitcom. It didn't really hit me. You know what I mean? Like situational comedy. That's what sitcom stands for. So it didn't really hit me
Oh,
like,
I didn't know
oh,
that.
yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, so that's what you're supposed to do after you become
Interesting.
funny, and that's why the Cosby Show, Bill Cosby had the Cosby Show. Richard
Okay.
Pryor had his own show. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Dave Chappelle had his own show.
I'm gonna jump in here because
Go ahead.
I know there's so much more I want to talk about, but I get it.
I'm
Like
sorry.
situational comedy means like I didn't realize that meant sitcom and that was supposed to take you like kind of to the next level. That's look what we've all learned today, or at least I learned something, and I'm okay. If I learn, you're supposed to learn something new every day, right? So I'm gonna take
That's
that
right.
gem. Thank you for that. Okay, so I want to bring it back to May.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I want to say that I'm not really, but I want to say that being your friend and back when I was a radio host at WHOV 88.1,
Oh,
put,
Hampton. Wow. Yeah.
put an idea about radio in your head. But
Yes.
that would be teetering on a little bit of fact and fiction. So tell us about when that thought bubble, like it's so funny, I wish I had that, like the thought bubble boop, popped up for you to create 108 Soul New York.
Oh man. Well, let's go back to Hampton though. Don't try to skip over that. Don't try to skip over that.
What shall we talk
WHOV.
about?
Don't skip over Hampton first.
I won't.
Because that right there, that showed me from back then, like I had an interest in radio. I just didn't know it. You know what I mean? I didn't know what to do. I was trying to get my foot in the door so bad. Who was over there? Jay Wright was
Jay
shooting
Wright.
left and right. Left
Jigga.
and right, Jay Wright. Shout out to him too, though.
Yeah, because he's probably somewhere watching, listening.
Right. But so for 108, for those who know, I do radio sales. I used to work for Cumulus, who owned 103.9, which is the R&B station here in New York City. And I worked with them for 5 years. Yes, 5 years. No, 6 years. And I left because they said they were going to sell the station. So I left before they sold it. But during the radio years, I learned radio. Like I learned the nooks and the ins and outs, promotion. I sat in every meeting you can think of, whether it was promotions, sales, managers. I moved my way up to sales manager at that position. I walked in there wanting to do promotions just to get my foot in the door. And they was like, well, you're overqualified for promotions. Why don't you go talk to the sales manager? Sales manager actually happened to be Jonathan Mason. He went to Norfolk State.
I think there's some Trojans watching. So, okay. Yeah. Shout out to them.
Right. And so he sat me down. He was telling me about the business. He was like, hey, man, you could
Spartans.
really, make a killing. You could really make a killing, man. And I said, I never did sales before. And he said, you're a comedian. You sell yourself on stage every night. I said, you know what? I didn't think about it like that. So
and you could talk.
Right. And so I went home, looked him up, researched him, called him the next day and said, hey, yeah, man, let's do this. So, but after I left 108, I went to La Mega in Amor, which is the Spanish station here in New York City, the biggest Spanish station here, probably United States, Mega.
Oh, wow.
Right. And, I learned from that brand because that brand was the number one, it probably still is the number one listened to station in New York in any language, not just Spanish, in any language. So their ranking, and I learned how to do things working with them on a higher level because 103.9 was down here. It wasn't as high as
it's a smaller station.
Correct.
In a big market.
Correct. So after they shut down 103.9, I had all the contacts still. You know what I mean? I had all the on-air personalities. I had all the DJs. And then the pandemic hit, and nobody was doing anything. So I said, yo, what if we start a digital station? We actually went in to try to buy 103.9, but they wanted way too much money. They wanted like 12 mil for it. We was like, yo, we got 4. Nope.
$12 million for a
$12
digital
million.
station.
$12 million. I don't care. I shouldn't even say this like this, but they wanted $12 million, right? And I was the sales manager, so I knew how much the station billed. And I was like, no way in the world are we buying this for $12 million and it don't make that much money. It'll take us years to make our money back. You know what I mean?
When people show interest, they think they can value it at what they want. But.
Right, but I watched Shark Tank, so I was like, how's your valuation? Wait, let me see your valuation.
And you're an accountant.
Right, come on. You can't put that by me. So, with legalities, I couldn't say that it was me who was in talks to try to buy it. So we had, a third party do it and everything like that, signed the waiver. It went through. But, after we went through all that, I got a group of like-minded people together, and we were like, how do we do this? So we started looking at all the different platforms, started researching stuff that was going on across these, try to figure out how you would pay for royalties, how you would pay for on-air personalities, how you would get music legally. It's not Napster, you know what I mean?
Right.
So all that stuff, all the relationships we have with the labels, with the artists, and then we put it together. And it started growing, and what it is today is a dream come true.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
108 Soul, right? 108 Soul New York. What do we call it?
The Soul of New York.
Soul of New York. And what type of music do you guys play?
We play. He said, "You guys, aren't you part of the team, huh?"
What type of music do we play?
Come on, man. We play R&B and classic hip hop. We throw in a little reggae every now and then. We got house on Sundays with my man Delmore Brown. House music all night long. Say what? House music all night long. Say what?
House music all night long.
Yeah, we have a great, as they say, a palette for music. We have a great source, not source, but we have a great variety of music that we play.
And you have a lot of, what I like about 108 Soul too, Jamie, is the DJs. You have so many DJs that come with their own style. And let me tell you what gets me through Sunday mornings. That lineup is like that. Like, shout out to Cool Mike
Sunday's
like,
best. Yeah.
Once I come home and put them groceries away, I am in here jamming, and my neighbors are ready because they expect it. So if nothing else, because you don't really get that much anymore when you're listening to other stations. You don't get a mix. You don't get a DJ like really talking and giving it to you. You get something pre-mixed, right? And you get it for 15 minutes.
Right.
That's not what you're getting at 108 Soul. So it's dope, and it's music that a certain age group can appreciate.
And that's why we made it. That's why we made 108 Soul, because I'll say the names. BLS. We feel like BLS's music is too old for us. You know what I mean? High 97 is too young for us. Power, they still play with High 97's audience a little bit. Power 105.
And they us.
Yeah. And so it was like, who are the people who are 35 to 55? What are we listening to? You know what I mean? We can't turn on Pandora every day. You know what I mean? You hear the same thing. So we created a platform for music lovers like ourselves who could actually appreciate good music. They stopped playing good music on radio.
They stopped. And you got to catch it. Oh, and Jamie clearly is sitting outside of the T-Mobile, but it didn't work for him to steal that Wi-Fi. So hopefully he'll get back in here soon, because he vanished really, really quickly. And here he comes. So we all need to joke him, because he told me he pulled up outside the T-Mobile to get a better connection, and clearly it ain't work.
Sorry. No. I'm not even worried about their Wi-Fi. The guy was calling me with the movers, and I was telling him, you got to call the other guy. So that's how we got
It's
disconnected.
okay. I kept it going. I was just talking smack about you.
Yeah, I heard you. I clicked back in, and apparently his Wi-Fi isn't not work. I heard it. Anyway, so
Kind of keeping it real. But we were talking about one way. So you're always looking for advertisers. So I know that there are a good amount of people on here that have businesses. But you know, it's always been hard for people because when they think radio, they think how expensive it is, right? And you know what it looks like because you were in radio sales. But what people don't know, and what Jamie is not saying, is that Jamie reached out and pulled me into this, right? So there's this voice, and actually not even a voice. There is something called Black Global News. And
who created that? That's right, Cassie.
Because my longtime friend reached back and pulled me in to pull me up with him. So I'm forever grateful for that.
No doubt. No doubt.
But remember, I was very, very torn about doing it.
You were very nervous. Say nervous. You were very nervous.
I was concerned. I was a little nervous because I wasn't sure what it was. But you know what sold me is that you were like, we created a station for us.
That's right.
And a station for us, we need to talk to us. We need to make sure that we appreciate us. We need to make sure that we inform us. We need to make sure that we know what we're doing in this world and how important we are. And we are here to help us. So when you said all that, I was like, okay, well, sign me up.
Right. So, and it's important. It's very important. We don't have that. We don't have that outlet. We don't have that information coming in. Everything that we get is watered down. You do it straight, no chaser. You know what I mean? And it's funny, it's witty, and it's a different spin on the news. Like, you know, you can turn on CNN and hear the nonsense. You can turn on the evening news with David.
And let me say this, because I know Jamie, again, still clearly doesn't work. I don't know if he needs to move to AT&T or whatever. But let me say this about Black Global News. I was talking smack again. When you go out, I'm the funny person now.
I heard you. That's the word, AT&T. I can hear you still. When you're talking crazy, I can still hear you. I'm just frozen. I can still hear what the hell you're talking about. Well, go ahead.
Okay. But I completely forgot my thought. But what I'm saying is that, so this is a station that, you allow me, and what I say is I repurpose the news, right? Because I get news from everybody else. Thank you. Somebody said I'm pretty funny myself. But I pull from the resources that everyone else is listening to. But what I do also is I do my research on that, right? So I make sure that when I provide it, I am adding a little Kaz spin to it, but I keep it real because that's what we want to hear. So I really appreciate you for that. But if people do have a small business and want to promote, because yes, you know, it's 108 Soul New York, but you are all over. I mean, you're global, right? Because it's digital. So.
Yeah, we're so global. We went to St. Martin this year, which was dope as a station. Less than a year together. We flew down. We did a flyaway with live escapes. We went down to St. Martin in July. And when I tell you, man, to see all those people after the actual event walking through the airport with 108 Soul t-shirts on, oh, man, it was a sight.
What a feeling. Okay, so that's a good way. We'll come back to 108 Soul and talk to people if they want to know how to advertise on there. Or I think I saw 108 Soul is listening. So if they want to put a comment on how people can advertise, I'll pin it when I see it. Because we're all about helping each other, right?
I'm going to put it in there. I'm going to put it in right now.
All right, cool. If I can, okay, so you do that and I'll do this. So we grew up in a time where our neighbors, you know, started the grill, and we'd be like, oh, and the whole family would go outside and kind of wander over and be welcomed. When, you know, your kids acted a little crazy, you might have gotten yoked up by them. But it was when the community cared about the community. And I think we're starting to get back to that more, but it's not like your immediate community, right? Your immediate neighborhood. It's more so now the Black community, like putting our arms, extending our arms as far as we can to be a community to people. But talk about comedy with a purpose and how you are trying to make sure that the community understands that you are there for them.
Well, with comedy with purpose, I started that because there were so many like touchy topics, there still are to this day, that people do not want to talk about because it's too risque. You know what I mean? And we started it with the safe sex comedy tour. It was called the One Night Stand Comedy Tour, right? And so we went to all the CUNY schools here in New York City, and we hit 2 SUNY schools as well. And we actually went to Milwaukee, but we would talk. We would incorporate the the infirmary of the campus, whoever was in charge of the health division, to come in. We would do our set clean, of course, and then we would have them come in and give them the talk about safe sex on campus. And if you've ever been, touched or molested or raped, anything at school, please come in and talk to the counselors and stuff like that.
About to be Jamie After Dark in a second.
Yeah, right. So don't tell me I did that. All right, there it is. So
watch that battery.
So we did that. We did the tour with that, but the whole taboo feeling about it is that no one wants to talk about sex, and I'm like, you clearly are at college. These kids are having sex. You might want to equip them with the knowledge so they don't make a mistake. You know what I mean? And that's the situation. Can you hear me good? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You sound a little echoey, but it's fine. I can hear you.
No,
don't change it. I can hear you.
Okay. All right.
They didn't have Mr. Foreman, I guess, in college to talk about sex. But go ahead.
Right. So when we did the first one, it was kind of like, New York City public schools. New York City Department of Health was like, we don't know if we want to touch that. But then we did another one, and they came out and saw it, and they're like, all right, yeah, we'll continue this tour. You know what I mean? Because it was mixed emotions. I had a homegirl who worked for Department of Health, and she was like, yeah, we'll get it funded. It's a great idea. Just, let people know what you're doing. And so we did that. And the first one was like, they were a little too, it's too risque. I'm like, come on, what are you talking about? We're talking to college kids.
Right.
When they leave,
they're smashing.
You know what they're going to do? Right. You know what they're going to do when they leave here? At least give them the condoms. You know what I mean? At least give them. They're poor. They don't have the money to pay for condoms. Give them the condoms.
Because condoms ain't cheap. So I've heard.
No. Right. So, but, it caught on, and, it's something that we do. We talk about everything. We talk about, race. We haven't touched on the new transgender topics that's happening now because, we haven't been doing it.
It's coming soon because you know what I just heard today? This is crazy that you should say that. This is so random, but that the new Superman is going to be bisexual.
Yeah. And that's a little stretch. I stopped reading comic books a long time ago, so they can make him whatever they are.
When somebody told me that, I was like, that's not really a stretch for me to imagine, but okay.
Why?
Well, because you got to look at all if we're going to talk about this for a quick second, because I think all of the ones that I can remember recently that they've cast just did not have necessarily, they just had a different feel to me. I'll just say that. And again, I'm not saying it's bad at all. I'm just saying I'm not surprised, and I don't think people should be, I guess is where I was going with that. Okay.
My whole thing is that they're making a conversation for younger and younger and younger audiences.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like they're sneaking it in while the parents aren't paying attention. That's why it's very important as parents that you need to see what your kids are watching, what they're playing, what they're reading, because they could just be digesting all this information and you have no idea. And then next day they say, hey, Ma, hey, Dad, what's this and what's that? And like, where'd you get that from? Oh, it was in the book you bought me. What the hell are you talking about? That you learned that from the book I bought you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
parents must pay attention because if you don't talk to your kids, somebody else will. And not just talk to them, but give them their perspective on it and not the narrative that you want them to have. Not saying that you're going to completely change the narrative, but there's difference in this conversation just went a different way. But there's a difference in you explaining something to somebody that you love and care for with all of your heart than somebody else that doesn't give a damn about them on the street. So
correct.
Those conversations are essential. Okay, let's kind of lighten it up a little bit. So we all know that you're a comedian, yet because your signal is crap, you haven't really said too much yet to make me laugh, but there's still a little bit of time. So, funny guy, tell us how important it was for you to build a space.
Horrible, yo. Horrible.
You met me before, right?
I'm listening.
You met me, so this wasn't going to be that easy. And tell us how important it was. I'm cracking myself up. Sorry. tell us how important it was to build a space for comedians and to co-own that space. And just the importance of a space that you could be like, everybody, come on and try it out if that's what you're interested in.
Are you talking about comedy in Harlem?
Yeah, comedy. I'm sorry, I was so funny with it. Yeah, that part.
Oh, yeah, well, it's needed. It's needed. The comedy world, especially in New York City, is so diverse, but at the same time, it is so. Am I breaking up?
No, you good. You good.
Jesus Christ. Oh, all right. I thought I was breaking up. So the comedy world in New York City is so diverse, but at the same time, it's not. You know what I mean? It's very segregated, meaning only certain comics work certain clubs. So,
Really?
they don't yeah, like you can look at the majority of the New York comedy scenes websites, and you'll see who's performing on a nightly basis, and it could be maybe one or two black people. When I mean black people, I mean a black woman or a black man, and it's predominantly a white industry in New York. As far as comedy clubs are concerned,
Interesting.
rooms.
I don't think I would ever paid that attention. That's okay.
Right. Rooms, meaning, there's a comedy room here and there's a comedy room in the back of a bar or something like that. That's where the Black, African American, the Latin community, that's where we normally gravitate towards to perform, because we're not always on these stages throughout the week. So we build our own in the back of a club or back of a restaurant or something like that, because we're not, quote unquote, passed at these certain spots.
Wow.
And,
we
can get up more freely. Right. So it's, for us rather to go ahead and say, hey, let's try to open up a comedy club. Let's see how we can do that. First and foremost, it is a lot of work. I got a baby at home. Now I got a baby in Harlem as well. It is a lot of work. I'm not going to say that we're here, just, shooting the shit and open up the doors and we're good. No, it's a lot of work, a lot of marketing, a lot of money that was put into this. And, it's just showing me, it's not easy. Success isn't easy. If you want something, you got to go out and get it.
Oh yeah. My father always taught me nothing worth getting is easy.
Oh God. For us to put my signal is horrible. I don't know why. Why is my signal bad? I paid my bill. Why? What is going on here? Anyway.
Did you turn off your Wi-Fi like my instructions said?
I can't connect to anything around here anyway if I have my Wi-Fi on.
But did you turn it off? Okay.
Yeah,
but you're good.
I turned the Wi-Fi off. Yeah.
Okay. But Jamie, honestly, like you're throwing out some education here, because I didn't even understand. And I'm not going to say comedy is segregated because that's not what you were saying. But there's still some hills for minority comics to climb before they can get into the front room, which is so crazy to me, because we see comics, we see the Dave Chappelles, we see the Kevin Hart, we see the Tiffany Haddish, we see black comics on the big stage, but
that's only the tip of the iceberg, man.
Wow.
That's only the tip of the iceberg. There's so many talented comedians, not just black, not just Latino, not just white, but there's so many talented comedians, especially here in New York City, that just don't have the opportunity to get on stage, right? And so I didn't notice that until I started running my show, Sunday Night Live, that I ran. Okay. Right? I didn't know that until they were telling me, hey, the only time I perform at this club is when I'm on your show. And I'm like, get the hell out of it. What? Why is that? And I'm like, these guys are hysterically funny. You know what I mean? Hey, can you put me in touch with the booker? I would love to work this club. I'm like, you're not working this club already? It was never my intention to work a club, meaning I need to be passed at this specific club in order to be working. You know what I mean? Because like I learned early in the world, in the world of comedy, that if you're tied down to one club, all it takes is for them to say, hey, we're not working with you anymore. Then your whole revenue is shot. You know what I mean? So,
wow, and then you got to start over, basically.
Yeah, you got to go, and then you got to go kiss ass at another club. And you got to, hey, what's going on over
This is
here?
crazy. I didn't realize it was like that hard. Like people doing tricks in the back. I'm not just kidding here.
Yeah.
But to get on, doing tricks in the back room to get on the front, in the front room.
Real talk.
That
I've seen
I
some
mean,
things.
my mind is really blown by that, which makes it even more. I admire you even more, and I'm even more humbled that you have created yet another space, Jamie. Right? Because for those people that are just tuning in, we talked about the space that you created in radio with the 108 Soul, and for us, by us, talking to us, sponsors that look like us, things like that. And now you've created another space for us and more, us and friends, on the comedy scene. So you're a trailblazer, my friend. You are
I like to
definitely a
call it a safe
trailblazer.
space too. I like to call
Oh,
it a safe space. You know what I mean? So people feel safe that they come in there and they could express themselves. You know what I mean? Without judgment. You get what I'm saying?
I do.
So yeah, the beauty of it though, Cassandra, is that I know so many comedians, and it's like when I said I was going to do it, people were like, "Do it, we need it, do it. What do you need? I got you. What you need?" It's like shit. I need people to buy tickets and show up. That's what we need. We got the talent. That's not a
So he
problem.
needs people to buy tickets and show up, right? It's great that people are like, oh, probably liking your page right now. But what I tell my Convos with Cass community is that support is not just a like. A support is a go and buy a ticket. A support is I have a small business and I want to get out there more and I want to advertise, and advertising at 108 Soul. Your support is showing up if you're in Harlem or you're going to Harlem and you wanna laugh, you want a dinner date, you want to do that. Show up there.
Right.
Show up to a space that Jamie has created with his people to welcome us in, and a safe space for the people that are on stage. Do that. That's how we support.
Right.
I'm gonna jump into the next thing here.
Okay, I'm listening.
Married and because we're just having a good old time, like catching up. Married and funny, right? I'm still not sold on your part of the funny, but let's talk about who's really funny in the marriage and how amazing and or challenging it is working with your beautiful wife, Nikki Sunshine. Like, what's next for your brand and how all that works?
Well, she's part owner of the comedy club, so
Hey,
we
where's
got.
she at? Do we need to get her in here too?
She's at home with the baby. Cut it out. Cut it out.
She's still probably funny though.
I'm sure she's watching from a distance underneath a spy account. But anyway.
Oh, well, I got some stuff coming up for you, Nikki. So watch. Go ahead, Jim.
Don't worry, I can disconnect this call as fast as I can.
You can, but we'll still be here.
Right. But what's next
if you
for
keep
us?
with T-Mobile,
What's next for us is really building this comedy club to the level that we need it to be. You know what I mean? We sat back and we thought about it. She's always the first person I run the ideas by. So the idea of 108 Soul, I ran by her. She said, "Do that shit. Ain't nobody doing it. Do that shit." So
because behind every strong man is an even stronger black woman. But go ahead.
That's right. You're absolutely right about that. And but I got her back with everything she wants to do as well. So don't think I'm just carrying luggage out this mug. You know what I mean? So
I know this, but they don't. But thank you for that.
Yeah. And then when we said we was going to do a comedy club, she was like, "Think about it first, because it is a hell of a responsibility, right? But if it's something that you want to do, let's lay it out and see how we're going to make it work." And so we did the numbers. We looked through our phone book and we was like, "Yo, all right, well, at least we know we could book the first quarter of business, meaning the first 3 months, through our phone book, meaning we know we have people we can call and come do shows, right?"
Yeah. That's
so we
great.
said, right, and then you got to call in favors. So I've been calling in favors this week, like, "Hey man, listen, I got a room, I got a comedy club, I need you to come do it." And I have other comedians, but when you're jumping out the gate, you can't take any chances.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's what favors are for.
Any chances, right? And some of these guys owe me favors, real talk. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna call it in. If you can't
your
do
word
it,
is your bond. So let's go ahead and make good on that right now, please.
Right. And I like to think that my name is good in these streets. So
it is. We're definitely on the streets that I'm on. It's good.
Let's see what we can do. And it's been growing. And the feedback that I'm getting from comedians, especially when they come to see the space, how can I get a room here? How can I get a show? When are you booking it? What can I do to help? That's the biggest thing I've heard people say to me is, what can I do to help? Which is so dope, because a lot of people are just, accepting handouts. They want, hey, give me, instead of, how can I help you? How can we build this?
That goes back to the community that we're part of, right? So when people see you, they understand what that looks like. You know, somebody's asking here, I don't want to miss this question. If you're coming to Atlanta anytime soon, and I remember you were here a couple of years ago, so I don't know if you have plans for that yet.
Nope, no plans to come down to Atlanta. Atlanta's too wide open. Y'all kissing people in the mouth, you don't know them. Yeah, I mean, y'all.
Oh, look, there is a little bit of funny. Okay.
Y'all wide open down there, man.
We ain't never closed.
I know. Like, y'all like, COVID who? COVID what? Nah, we knucking and bucking. You know what I mean?
It's like that. Even the prostitute closes are like, sometimes we ain't do that here in Georgia.
Yo,
So,
real talk. Y'all survived Freaknik for 7 years, so COVID ain't shit for y'all. Real talk.
and you know, Freaknik is back. Did it just happen? What? Yeah, no, like just happened or it's happening. Something like that. No, seriously, it's crazy.
You gotta be kidding me. Freaknik is back? No way. No way.
Yeah. Look, yeah, it is. It is. It's a little crazy.
Yeah.
Look, I know that you're pressed for time. I had another question, but I don't need to do that. But I want to do one thing that I love to do with anybody, people I know, people I don't know, which is called Kaz's Quickie. So this is what I like to say is a quick, rapid fire Q&A. Some of the questions I ask are not that rapid fire, but I really do want you, because you're a super smart guy, I want you to answer them as quickly as you can and see what you got. Are you ready, my friend?
Yeah, let's make it happen.
Who's your biggest fan?
My mom.
How do you relax?
Wine.
What did you dance to your first song with Nicki? What was that song? Your first wedding song?
First song?
Yeah.
You mean at the wedding?
At the wedding.
Oh, I thought you meant like, in the club.
No,
the first song we danced to was Brian McKnight. I forgot the name of it though. I forgot the name. Brian McKnight song.
I'm sure it'll be playing when you get home tonight. Like, don't you remember now?
Yo, that wedding was such a blur, yo. Real talk. People were like, "Yo, I loved your wedding." I was like, "You were there? Holy shit, I forgot."
I wasn't there.
I know. There was family members that got cut.
Okay, let's get back to the game. Favorite cocktail or drink of choice?
Hennessy and ginger ale.
Hip hop or R&B?
Hip hop. Come on now.
Amityville or Hampton?
Amityville all day.
If you could have a conversation with anyone, who would it be?
Malcolm X.
What's harder, being a girl dad or a boy dad?
I love them both.
No, it's okay. And that wasn't it was just what's harder being. Got it. Who is your favorite comedian living?
Bill Cosby. Hate to say it.
You said it. This is your truth, not mine. Who's your best friend?
My best friend, I have two, is Craig and Jerron.
Who is your most memorable teacher in grade school? Who was, I should say.
Who was my most memorable? Miss Schechter. She was my accounting teacher, and she pushed me into doing accounting. I didn't even know it yet. I went to school. I went to Hampton as an electrical engineer, graduated with an accounting degree, came back and hugged that woman. So, yeah, Miss Schechter.
That is awesome. What is your biggest fear?
My biggest fear is failure.
If you could roast any comedian, who would it be?
Any comedian, Jamie Foxx.
If you gave your wife a free pass, who would she choose?
Me. What's wrong with you, woman, asking these damn questions? I should choose Albie Shore. Albie Shore. She'll probably drive him up Albie Shore's poster if I put it up.
We'll see if it's playing when you get home tonight. What is your favorite song?
My favorite song, "Every Man" by not 10%. "Every Man" by is it 10%? No, "Every Man" by Double Exposure. I'm sorry.
What did you do the first time you saw yourself on TV?
I laughed. Like,
what
wow,
is your favorite?
I can't believe this shit, huh?
What is your favorite quote?
My favorite quote. My mom gave me this quote, and I always live by it. Let people run their mouth, you run your business.
Say it one more time.
Let people run their mouth, and you run your business.
For the people that were in the back that might not have heard that.
Yeah, real talk.
And this is the last question. I always try to do a really important question that I want to understand. I don't know. I crammed for this Convos with Kaz like I did a humanities 101 class. So, no lie.
Humanities, holy shit.
Here it goes. If you could plan the ideal family vacation, number one, where would you go? Number two, who would you bring? Because it's family. It's open to anyone you want. And number 3, what is the one thing that you want to make sure you all do together?
Where I would go is Africa. Who I would bring everyone, including my unborn. Um, and the one thing that we can do together is visit the pyramids, because that is something that man cannot explain. And I think we're at our we're at a point in life right now. We stop questioning things and we just accept it. We need to go back to start questioning, like, how did this happen? How did this occur? You know what I mean? And start making you think more about your everyday life. You know? But yeah, I think if we went back to a trip to Africa, the entire family, and we just did research while we were there, what's going on? How do we get from here to there? And I'm going to tell you, not everyone came from Africa. You know, everyone says, "Oh, black people."
I'm Panamanian.
Huh?
I'm Panamanian.
Right. You know what I mean? Not everyone came from Africa. You know what I mean? My family's West Indian. And they say, "Oh, well, there were some ships that dropped them off in the West Indies, and that's how you got there." Yo, Cass, have you gone to the African American Museum in D.C.?
No, I haven't.
All right. So when you go there, right, they start you at the bottom floor. The bottom floor is slavery. I'm like, yo, why are we starting at slavery? You know what I mean? When you walk in there, that's where they start you at. And well, really, it's like an Oprah exhibit, and then you go through like the slavery, you know, chambers and everything. And I'm looking at it, and I'm reading the stuff that they're putting in front of you. You have to question things now. Now that you're older, you have the right to question things. There's no longer a teacher dictating to you, this is what happened, this is how it happened, and this is the reason why. You need to do the research on your own. So they're saying that millions and millions and millions of Africans were stolen from the continent and brought over to United States on these ships. And I'm like, yo, we have cruise ships right now that you're telling me would be smaller than what they were bringing over Africans on back then in 1400s. I'm like, come on, man. And they were sailing all the way from Africa all the way to
made of wood only.
To Portsmouth. I mean, like, come on, to Chesapeake. And it survived. I mean, it just makes you think. Of course there were ships. I'm not Kanye West in this at all. Of course there were ships that happened. But the amount of people that they were saying that was stolen from the continent of Africa is just mind-boggling to me. Like, there was that many people on the planet back then.
I do believe it, but a lot of people died too. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were piling people.
I get that.
This is a whole nother conversation.
No, but listen to this. I get that to a certain extent, but if we were kings and queens, we're not being piled and thrown in there like fucking luggage.
Like, right, like, whoa, my people.
Right, hold on, fam. We're not just going. No. What are you talking about? Oh, we're supposed to go because you have these muskets? Fuck out of here. I'm not doing it. But I'm sorry. Like you said, that's a whole nother conversation. But that's one of the reasons why I would love to go to Africa, to really do some deep diving into the history.
Have you been? Have you been to Africa?
No, I have not.
It is one of the most amazing places.
So you've been to Africa, but you haven't been to the African American Museum. That's big money. You got big money. Oh no, I'm not going to a museum. I've been to Senegal.
I've been to a lot of parts of Africa. I've been to Senegal. Yeah. I've been to Addis Ababa. I've been to Cairo. I've been to Joburg and Cape Town. But what I want to tell you is that you said that you want to go to Africa. So you want to go to the pyramids, which is in North Africa, in Cairo.
Africa, right.
But you must all go down to South Africa as well, because the history in South Africa is like no other. When I tell you, taking a boat ride in Cape Town from like the mainland over to Robben's Island was one of the, I'm trying to even put the feeling that I had of sickness just on the boat going over there, knowing that I was going home, you know, was like no other. And then getting there and hearing the history and seeing things, like it will shake you to the core. Right. And it will make you realize that those of us that come from Africa, because I do think, you know, yes, I'm from, you know, my family's from Panama, my grandmother's parents were from Jamaica. Like, so, you know, we all came from somewhere, but I do think where Black people were grown out of was probably the continent of Africa, right?
Yeah.
but it will make you say to yourself, wow, I'm a part of this history at some point in my lineage. And what happened here is unbelievable. And when you go home, you will sit and think about how strong you are, and making sure that your people know that, your people, your
Right.
family. But anyway, Cape Town is one of the most, I will hands down, one of the most beautiful places on earth. I want somebody to challenge me because I will absolutely fight them on that. So I do hope that you and your family, because one of the things I want to do, Jamie, is I would love to take my parents back to Africa, to South Africa, for them to see that, because it's a feeling. I did it by myself, and it was a feeling of loneliness when I did it by myself, because I was like, no one else is gonna understand what this feels like but me.
Right.
Like,
right.
and that's why I was like, I can't really explain it, because there was no one there for me to be like, you feel that?
Right. Right.
But anywho, look, everybody's joining in now. Now everybody's joining in after the funny guy was funny. He was funny. But Jamie, like, this is crazy, right? Who would have thought, back in Amityville, and I think when I really knew who you were is the day that hot pen tip hit the back of my neck in class in junior high school. That's when I really knew Jamie Roberts. He thinks he's a funny guy.
Yeah, man. But then you really got to know me once you found out we were going to Hampton together.
I was pissed, people. Let me tell you something. Let's real talk.
Me. Yeah.
Do you remember how I wanted to?
You came into the lunchroom like, I can't believe you're going to Hampton University.
I was pissed. I wanted to be like one of the only people. I didn't want to know anybody. Like, I was like, I'm going to Hampton. It's going to be a great experience. I'm not going to know anybody. And then Jimmy was like, but wait.
There's more.
He's like, I'm going too. And I was like, no, you're not. And Jamie was at Hampton. And I'm so glad that you were there, because it was nice to have somebody.
That was dope. That was a dope experience, though. That was a dope
it was a really good experience. I made some of my best friends are from Hampton.
Yeah, I still talk to all my boys from Hampton, man. I mean, like Kenny, Rick, Jay Wade, all of them. You know, Tone, all of them. And the thing about it is that Chris, Seymour, we just had dinner like 3 weeks ago. But the thing about it is that, like, each one of them are from a different place. You know what I mean? Like, Kenny's Philly, Chris Jersey, Jay Wade's Cali, Rick is DC, Pino's DC. And it just shows you, like, the power of school and of like Hampton itself has that ability to draw people together that's going to have life bonds, you know? Like, real talk. Like, these are my guys. They can call me anytime, and if I got it, they got it, you know? The same thing. When I launched
and that's the community.
They all hit me like, yo, how can we invest? I was like, hold on. Hold your coins for now, because, you know, investing, that means you got to get something back. Hold your coins for now.
Right. Show up, spend some money for now.
Right. You know, just tell some people. I always say, just tell some people about the station. Tell some people. And
what I love is that there are people from Amityville in here that I met and I have not met. Somebody in here was like, "Is that Terry's brother?" When I posted the photo. There are people in here from Hampton. There are people in here from New York, from other HBCUs, but people in here that support both you and I.
That's dope.
And I want to thank every single one of you that has tuned in to listen to this conversation live. I'm going to, in advance, thank every single one of you that listened to this conversation on the replay on Kaz Jams' IG page. And just know, Jamie, that I am so proud and humbled to be your friend, Black man. And I'm so glad to see where you've come from.
Yeah,
as a kid, as a skinny kid from Amityville.
Don't get it twisted. I'm still that skinny kid from Amityville. I got to do some more push-ups.
To a powerhouse of a comedian, actor, host, businessman, husband, and father. And thank you for taking the time and getting your phone together.
Let me plug one thing real quick. I'm supposed to be in that Colin is a New Black. Colin Black and White. I'm sorry. Colin in Black and White on Netflix. It's dropping with Eva DuVernay the end of this month.
What is it? Say it again.
Colin in Black and White.
Colin in Black and White?
Yeah, it's on Netflix. It's a documentary about his life. And
Oh, the Colin Kaepernick story. Oh, okay.
yeah, I don't know if they cut my part out or not, because you never know until you see it. But it was a dope experience, man, and it was very powerful from the stuff that I saw. You know, and he's such a cool dude, man. Very humble guy, man. And it's, you know, just if you have a chance, it's not my particular project. It's, you know, Eva DuVernay's project, but it is so impactful. It's dope. Take a look
Ava,
at it.
because she's my solo, so we got to get that right.
Eva DuVernay, right? And she directed me. She was like, Jamie, action, Jamie, cut. So they gotta keep it. They gotta keep it. If
she knows your name,
me, right? She's gotta keep it. Anyway, we never know until the final cut. So you know, everyone's watching Squid Game and everything else, but make sure you take a look at that, because that thing's powerful. Very powerful.
We'll definitely take a look at that. And again, thank you for your time. Thank you, Nikki, for giving Jamie a little bit of time tonight to get this done. And for those of you that are just logging in, if you have a small business, contact Jamie at 108 Soul. If you're looking to expand outside of your area, because people tune in around the world. He didn't say this, but I know that people listening in Brazil, everywhere. So not just in New York. Don't let the NY fool you. And it's some pretty dope music that will get you through your day. I listened to it this morning when I got out the gym, and I listened to it all throughout the night.
Thank you.
And if you are in Harlem and looking for a little something funny, Comedy in Harlem is Jamie's newest venture. And I wanted to say Gangsters Move in Silence, because I didn't have any idea, but then again, I'm not really part of your inner circle. But I love the fact that it just kind of popped up, and here you are with another venture again for the community, and to give people exposure in places that they usually don't get it. So don't just go and follow Jamie here on social media, right? Go and support in those two businesses that you just heard about. Look at his website, see what you could do. He also has Comedy with a Purpose. See where he's going. See if there's something that you could do there in the future. Him and Nikki bring the funny with Married and Funny. Watch and see where they go with that. And just support good people. If you support me, know I support Jamie, so you support the both of us. So Jamie, my friend, thank you so much for your time.
No doubt. Thanks for having me. This was dope.
We'll talk again.
Next time I come down there, we got to get up for drinks, all right?
Yes, and I want to meet Nikki too. And maybe you'll be a little bit funnier.
I'll try. I'll try. I'm sitting in a hot-ass car with no Wi-Fi, but I'm going to talk.
Hey, you know what? I do really hope that your battery starts if your car's not running.
No. We're good. Let me make sure. Cool.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon. Have a good night, Jamie. Bye-bye.
Peace.